If you ever treated me this way, we would have some problems. Hi, my lovelies, it's Rebecca Rogers. Welcome back to my channel. Regardless, I'm just so happy you're here with us today.
And I'm Avery Rogers, and it's Tuesday.
Meaning it's apple picking day! People who don't know us are probably like, what is apple picking day? Every Tuesday, we look on my subreddit, r/AmITheBadApple, and we pick a bunch of stories where people aren't sure if they acted appropriately or not. We read them, we come up with our own opinions. Sometimes you agree with us, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we don't even agree with each other, but that's okay. Everyone has different life experiences, everyone comes from different walks of life, and that just is what it is. We learn from each other through conversation. And this week we're looking at some interesting relationships. So I accidentally maybe kind of gave Avery the flu. Sorry. I love you. He's a little struggle busting today, but that's okay. The show must go on. So without further ado, let's get started with this week's episode of Am I the Bad Apple? Apple number 1. Am I the bad apple for hanging out with my friend's husband? I, 21 female, have the most amazing friend, Kenna, female 25. Kenna has a husband named Mike, 31 male. I also have a boyfriend whose name is Wes, 23 male. We've both been with our partners for about 3 to 4 years. We both also each have a son from a past relationship. My son, 4 male, and her son, 6 male, are best friends. She also has a 6-month-old baby girl. Kenna and I met through her ex. He and I dated for a while, and when things went rocky, and I mean extremely rocky, there was police involvement and a restraining order, I reached out to her just to inform her of the court case. She also had an open court case going through court, and my only intention was to pass along evidence for the safety of her child. After a long conversation about what we both had went through and what he put her through, she showed up to my work to surprise me with bags of clothes for my son. I had her come in and we just clicked immediately. We both had young kids and both were doing our best to co-parent, and we also both had new significant others. I like to say that out of one of the worst situations to ever happen to me, I got the best thing ever. My best friend. It's been over 2 years since all that went down, and our sons are still the best of friends. With that, now our spouses are also good friends, and we even go to each other's family events. The other day, we were doing our normal thing. After school, we got the boys together, they play, they do some homework, we make dinner together. The only difference was that Mike was off work and her son's father, Jay, changed their plans. He couldn't get him from school because he had to go back to court for overdue child support payments, meaning he wasn't going to be able to get there till after dinner. Kenna then drove her son to the corner mart to meet with Jay less than 2 miles up the road. That way, no one was uncomfortable. My boyfriend called while Kenna was gone just to see what I was up to. I had their daughter in my lap and my son next to me. So I spoke briefly and told him everything that was going on at the moment, and I hung up thinking that everything was fine. Not even 30 minutes later, Kenna was back and getting her baby dressed for bed. Then my boyfriend showed up banging on Kenna's door, and he was angry, telling me to pack up my son and it was time for me to go. I was very confused. We packed up, we left, and my boyfriend told me at home that he was very angry with me, that everything felt off and that I was being weird. This had never happened before, so I was confused, and Wes just kept saying that I was being disrespectful to him, that he couldn't believe I was alone with another man, and kept repeatedly telling me over and over how I was being disrespectful. I finally stopped him and I asked, "Are you talking about Mike?" He said yes, and he broke down into tears, claiming that by me being alone with Mike, I was disrespecting him, that he would never be alone with another female. That he would never be alone with another female. I felt bad. I mean, this man was bawling his eyes out. And the last time I saw him cry like this was when we had to move to the big boy section to get my son's clothes. He's very sentimental like that. I spoke to my friend Kenna about this and she was furious. Would he rather me make you see Jay, and then reminded me of all the alternatives of me breaking the restraining order? I brought that to Wes's attention and he claimed that Mike should have been made to go, but why should he be forced to leave his house on his day off? Most people I've spoke to say that I'm in the right, but then again, some of his friends agree that I should respect his wishes and not put myself in a situation where I'm alone with another man. That I should have just left as soon as Kenna did and have been done with it. So now I'm wondering, Am I the bad apple? Was I in the wrong? I think that this woman seems to have a pattern with the kind of men she involves herself with. Because if she had to give herself a restraining order and now is with another man that is crying because she's alone in a room with some guy that isn't into her, some guy that's married, some guy, what? That's so unhealthy and so controlling. And if I was her friend, I would really urge her to reevaluate the kind of people that are not only in her life, but around her kids. Because this seems to be a problem. He can't trust her to be alone with another human being. What? When I went to California and you stayed home, I stayed at Ben's house. And there are no issues. I don't understand why he was bawling his eyes out. What has she done to make him trust her so little that she cannot be in the same room as another guy? And if that's the case, if he can't trust her to be in a room with a man, that's not a relationship.
I think that's what I was thinking as well. I'm wondering what she has done in the past. And if she has done something, then maybe there's a reason for him to have this distrust. But not assuming any facts, I think Mike just has some insecurity issues. If there's nothing that
No, Mike is...
Not Mike,
Mike
you're
is
right.
the husband, it's Wes, I think.
Wes, the boyfriend, just has
Yeah.
some insecurities. I don't see any reason for why she couldn't babysit with Mike, her best friend's husband, for 30 minutes while everything gets situated.
I've said this before. We do not support unfaithful partners on this channel, like, at all. I have no sympathy. I don't feel bad. Like, you are in the wrong. It is not that hard to just leave if you're not happy. That being said, I know there are people out there who are unfaithful and their partner decides to forgive them and move past it, and that's their business. But I feel like if that is the case, you have to give your partner the ability to gain that trust back. And again, we don't even know if there was an issue, okay? We don't even know if there was. We don't have any reason to believe that there has been any kind of issue like that. All we know is Wes is freaking out. Whether he has insecurities from this lady, from a previous relationship, at some point, if you're going to forgive that kind of behavior, at some point you have to move on. And if it's from another relationship that he has these insecurities, you can't put someone else's past actions on your current partner. Like, that's not fair. So regardless of the situation, I think Wes is definitely in the wrong. I don't see anything wrong with this woman who has no ulterior motives, who has no sinister plans or anything. Like, she's not interested in Mike. That's her best friend's husband. No. So I don't see anything wrong with her babysitting with him, hanging out with him, whatever. Like, I think that the bare minimum is to trust your significant other. Like, again, when I went to California and I was staying with Ben, no questions asked. Not a problem at all. Or when we all went to Nathan the cat lady's house, we were all hanging out, not a problem. Because we have that bare minimum trust in each other. We know we love each other. We know we're in a happy marriage. Like, that's what being with someone is. You trust them to just honor your relationship.
I think we're both gonna have to go good apple, it sounds.
Are we agreeing?
Without some other evidence that she has done something that would be untrustworthy in the past, I don't think there's anything in this story to say that she's done anything wrong.
Avery found me this. I looked on the Amazon thing. They had a yellow one in the store image, but I couldn't actually find it. So if anyone knows where I can find a yellow one of these that we can, that would be great, because this lady doesn't deserve the red one. She needs the yellow. Apple number 2. Am I the bad apple for telling my husband he exaggerated and sticking up for my kids? Last week was my stepdaughter's 14th birthday. She was in the hospital days prior for a really serious medical issue, and now she's getting better. My husband was so happy and threw her a little small birthday party. Unbeknownst to me, my boys, 16 and 12, decided to pull a funny prank and mess with the birthday cake that my husband made her. Instead of adding icing to the cake, they added mayonnaise. It didn't go well, and my stepdaughter's reaction was to cry. My husband blew up at the boys for what they did, but They said they were just trying to prank her since that's the norm and they always prank each other. My husband said it was the wrong time to do this on her birthday, especially after just getting out of the hospital. He told the boys they ruined her birthday, but I told him to stop exaggerating. That's such a harsh statement and he needs to calm down. Then my husband got all upset and yelled at me for defending this behavior and being an enabler. I don't think I am, because the boys love her. That's why they did this. They prank each other out of love, but my husband isn't having any of it. Both he and my stepdaughter aren't speaking to me or the boys, but again, it was just a prank. So am I the bad apple for saying he exaggerated and sticking up for my kids?
Yes.
That was quick. Bad apple! I really want to find a yellow one. I think regardless, yeah, they messed up. And I don't think that they intentionally tried to upset the stepdaughter. I think they really were. You think they did?
Yes, if you pull a prank on someone, you are intentionally meaning to upset someone.
I want to believe that they were just trying to be funny and that they weren't actually trying to cause harm or be malicious.
Even so, we've covered this topic before. If you threw a paint balloon at someone's...
Right, well, I think that was malicious. The coat.
Well, she was doing it to get clout. She had other reasons than to be mean. Just like they had other reasons than to be mean, but it's still wrong.
I understand. I'm not saying that it wasn't wrong. I'm saying that even though I don't think they were trying to be malicious, I do think that it was a bad prank and not okay. I think teenage boys make very questionable decisions sometimes, and they might think it's very lighthearted and not a big deal, but that doesn't mean it's not. I think they did ruin the birthday, and I think that being able to be honest with teenagers when they make these mistakes and say, no, you ruined this because of this prank, like that is feedback they need so they don't do it again later. Like they need that kind of criticism. They need those boundaries set of, no, this isn't okay because you ruined this event, you ruined this party. Even if she didn't get out of the hospital, you still ruined the birthday. No one can eat that cake now. Like that's a waste of money, that's a waste of time, because someone put time into making that birthday cake.
It's their father.
Yeah, well I'm saying that it's just a waste of time and money and it ruined the day. Like this was a harmful prank, and even if they didn't mean for it to be, not giving them the criticism of no, this was harmful is not constructive or productive for their maturing. So yeah, I think the wife is the bad apple. She needs to be able to tell her boys no. She has to be able to parent them and tell them when they make bad decisions. And I'm honestly really disappointed she can't understand how that would ruin her stepdaughter's birthday.
Maybe in a different setting, it would have been a better prank. Like if you made a cake for one of your coworkers or something and did that, it would be funnier than, say, if it was a birthday party and the whole day was centered around that.
I'm feeling nauseous just thinking of taking a bite of mayonnaise. I think she's being not the nicest wife right now. I think that she needs to understand that her husband was trying really hard to make his stepdaughter feel better after being in the hospital. I can't understand how she is a grown adult, a grown woman, can't see why this was a harmful prank. That just bothers me. Grow up. Apple number 3. Am I the bad apple for calling my fiance delusional? My fiance and I are getting married. He comes from a conservative family and his mom has been up in the wedding planning, posing as a supervisor to oversee and to catch and eliminate anything that would be offensive. After our wedding dress fiasco, where I was told to not get a dress that wasn't showing too much skin, came the makeup issues. I showed my fiance some looks that I wanted to choose from and he gasped and said that his mom would have a stroke if she saw these. I, in frustration, asked, okay, what should I do? And the next thing I knew but didn't expect was for my mother-in-law or future mother-in-law to send me looks from models with almost no makeup or light makeup. No eyeshadow, no glowy lipstick, just plain face, kind of. I refused to choose from any of her suggestions and we had a big argument about it. My fiance came home and argued about how I'm planning on humiliating him and his family at the wedding by wanting to look like a clown. He says I'm gonna make jokes out of both of us. I snapped and called him delusional to think that I'm gonna let his mom get a say in what makeup I should wear and what I should look like on my wedding day. It's my face. He said there's no such thing as mine and yours in marriage and that I'm clearly too immature for it. He's been avoiding me and keeps trying to drop not so subtle hints of, you know why I'm avoiding you. And his mom even keeps trying to text me saying how she has my best interest at heart. I almost dropped this. Ugh. I think they're being ridiculous, but now I'm starting to have second thoughts. Am I the bad apple? I think for me, the biggest red flags was when she was like, it's my face. And he's like, no, there's no mine and yours in marriage. You're still your own person. What?
I just don't see any reason why she could be a bad apple. She just wants to do her makeup a certain way on the day that she's getting married.
Right, on her face. I'm sorry, can't play softball anymore because this is my arm, our arm. This is our arm, and I've decided it will not be used for softball.
I don't need that arm.
You won't let me dictate what's on your face, so you're too mature for marriage.
The few times I've made this statement, I like to remind everyone, it's not my business, it's other people's relationships. You know, you decide what are your lines to be crossed. This is so concerning to me. The fact that you're like, this is my face, and he's like, no, it's not, it's our face. That's a problem. That is so concerning to me. Wow! I know you're looking at me funny, and I'm telling you, it's not the same thing that I tell you can't wear your tuxedo shirt in public. You wore it for that one bad apple.
It was for New Year's.
It was for New Year's, because it's our body. Can't wear it anywhere else.
I feel like the only time you get to say our face is after you have a kid.
Yeah.
That's our face.
Smushed together on another human.
But it's more my face. So.
Good apple. I know we said that already, but that's a running away good apple for me. Apple number 4. Am I the bad apple for refusing to translate for my wife? My 33 male father is deaf. Because of this, I've been signing for as long as I can remember. My wife, 33 female, is hearing and has never put much effort into learning sign language beyond a few basic signs. This never bothered me, but it does make it difficult when we visit my family because I basically have to play translator, and if she and my dad want to have any conversations, I have to facilitate it, and I want to because I do want a bond between them, but it's difficult. About 2 months ago, I learned of an opportunity at a local college in our city where volunteer native speakers could come converse with students in the advanced sign language courses. It was gonna be a monthly thing in order to keep the students' progress on track. I jumped in at the chance to help out. I'm very passionate about people learning ASL. One of the other volunteers there was a nonverbal man, Alex, 29, who I found an easy camaraderie with. We exchanged numbers and just became fast friends. We began hanging out, and during the time we would spend at my place, I wouldn't translate even if my wife was in the room, other than their interactions and small talk, because Alex never requested I do so. After a few weeks of this, my wife brought it up as something that was bothering her. She said she felt left out and like Alex and I were keeping secrets. I politely apologized and went on to have a discussion with Alex about this whole thing. He said he felt it was extremely rude that my wife has never even so much as made an effort to learn ASL, especially when I had a close family member who was deaf. So to be frank, he had no interest in conversing with her. Honestly, I kind of agreed with him. It didn't rub me the wrong way at first, but now that she's complaining about being left out despite having years to learn at least some of this new language, it feels silly to me. I let my wife know that I would still translate for her and my dad, but things were gonna stay the way with Alex. I'm not translating for her if she's not interested in learning ASL. Now she's angry at me and saying that I'm a jerk, and I don't think I am, but I wanna know, am I the bad apple? Honestly, I agree with Alex that it's really messed up that she hasn't even so much as attempted to learn to try and communicate with him. Like doing the basic, like he said she knew the hi, bye, please, thank you, but do you not want any kind of relationship? Do you not even care to have the slightest bit of a relationship with your in-law that you can't learn basic conversational things?
So here's where I'm coming from. with just the instance where he's not going to translate for Alex, I think there's a problem with that.
Why? What?
Because Alex is nonverbal. He's not deaf. He can understand what she's saying.
But she can't understand what he's saying.
And how hard would it be for the husband or person that we're analyzing just to say what he's saying?
But he does not want her to be a part of the conversation. He's like, if she's not interested in meeting me at my level to communicate with me, I don't want to talk to that kind of person.
That just seems vindictive. He's nonverbal. He's not deaf.
It doesn't matter. These are disabilities that people have. So these are two separate individuals that have a disability, and this woman is not interested in putting forth the slightest bit of effort to try and meet them where they're at. So why would you not? Why would anyone want to converse with someone that cares so little about your disability? That makes sense to me.
Then just go hang out at Alex's house.
Why should they have to avoid the house?
I mean, if you don't want her to be involved anyway, why would you do stuff where she is going to be directly involved? Why don't they just go do things?
She doesn't have to be involved. Like,
it's not Alex's house.
But when I have friends over, you play video games in your room. Like, you're not directly involved in everything that we do.
Sometimes, but I mean, if you invited a friend over that just spoke a certain language, and you could also speak that language,
then I would sit there and I wouldn't stop my conversation every 2 seconds to tell you what she's saying if she's having a conversation with me. That's rude. Because I'd be like, oh, I can tell you what's going on with her later, but I wouldn't stop what she was saying every 2 seconds to turn and, oh, this is what she's saying about her life. Like, this isn't your friend. We're missing the point of this isn't just about a language. This is a disability. This is something that these people cannot control. This is something that has hindered a big part of their life. Something they've probably been bullied about, something that they have had difficulty overcoming, something that they have had to go and find ways to live through these disabilities. This guy is saying, he's not even saying that this lady needs to learn sign language for him. He's saying it's very apparent to me that your wife does not care about people's disabilities, because you have a dad who is deaf and she doesn't care to learn to communicate with him. So no, I don't really care if she's in our conversations. I don't need you to translate. I don't want to associate with her because she's not empathetic. It's about caring and including those who are disabled. Like, I just saw this video of this teacher who was having a parent day, and they were going to have all these activities and things for the kids to do, for the parents to watch. And part of it included doing like this, I don't really know what, it looked like Red Rover, but not violent, I guess. Like, the kids would trade places in the circle and run around. And she had a girl in a wheelchair just not participate and just sit to the side and just sit and watch her classmates have fun without her. Because she's disabled and she can't do it, and, oh, well, we want to continue having our fun. That's messed up. When you have people who have disabilities, whether in the classroom, in your family, or whatever, you find ways to include them and not make them feel like their disability is keeping them from participating in creating relationships with their family members, with their peers, with whatever. So I agree with Alex. I think it's very rude that she has a father-in-law who is disabled and she hasn't even attempted to learn sign language. Like, what about when she has kids? Is she not going to make the kids learn sign language? She's going to be at home with the kids. Shouldn't she be helping them practice and learn to communicate and foster a relationship with their grandfather? I think it's kind of gross for her to have a direct connection to individuals in this disabled community and not care about finding ways to make them feel included in her family. And of course, the dad, like, bless his heart, I'm surprised he hasn't complained about it, because I would. But it's just about accommodating and making people feel welcome and a part of, regardless of the barriers that they have in their life. If it was just for Alex, you know, that would be a little bit different. But it's Alex's idea of, she clearly has no empathy for those with this disability. She's not even willing to do it for your father. She's not the kind of person that I really want to associate. So I go good apple.
I think crab apple, but that's all I have to say.
Why crab apple?
Because I think if we were talking about Alex, I'd say sure. good apple. But I don't think it's fair to make her learn an entirely new language, whether you say it's a disability or communication barrier, whatever we want to call it, to interact with someone that she sees maybe a few times a year. Even if it seems like the right thing to do, I still don't think it's fair because she didn't marry the father-in-law. And I think that she should learn basics to communicate with him. But that's not the question we're being asked. We're asked if he, discluding his wife from a person who is only nonverbal and understands what she is saying, is the bad apple because he is refusing to say simple sentences to fill her in on the conversation.
But he doesn't
which I
want
think
her
makes him
involved.
bad. That's fine. I think that makes it even worse. He brings the guy, his friend, over to her house. She wants to hang out with them in her house with her husband, and her husband says, go away. I think that is wrong. I don't think that rises to the bad apple, but I don't think he's being a good apple. I think he's a crab apple because I think it would be very easy for him to just say out loud, this is what we're talking about. Is it okay for us to just have our conversation and things? And then just go do their own thing. They don't have to go to her house where she lives and put her right in the middle of it. They could go anywhere else.
I really don't agree with you. I think that, first of all, I think American Sign Language needs to be taught in schools at an early age. I think that needs to be offered as a second language when people are taking French or Spanish. Like, why not have that option more available at schools? I think there's so many people that suffer from this kind of disability. I don't understand why it's not more common. I think that when you have a family member that has this kind of disability, I think it's really gross to not do your best to try and accommodate them. I really am judging this wife hard for not taking the time to learn sign language when her father-in-law is deaf. I personally do not blame Alex for not wanting to associate for someone who cares that little about her family member's disabilities. Like, again, if he was just having a fit that she didn't learn it to communicate with him, I think that would be a different story. But I think to him it's very telling that she doesn't even care to learn it for her father-in-law. And he's like, no, I'm good. I can't blame him for that, and I go good apple. I'm glad that the husband is now realizing how wrong it is that his wife never took the time and never cares to learn how to communicate with his dad. So I'm going good apple all the way. What do you guys think? Do you agree more with me? Do you agree more with Avery? What do you think? Definitely am interested to see you guys' opinions. Let us know down in the comments. All right, so I got 1 bad apple and 3 good apples. I think I had the same one last week, didn't I?
I have no clue.
You had
2 good, 1 bad, and 1 crab?
You know that's a curse on this series, right?
No.
2 good apples, 1 bad apple, 1 crab, right? I think that's what the curse has been. We didn't plan it that way. We had, when it was just me, that same reoccurring setup for weeks. I don't know why. Now he's the cursed one. It's not me. But let us know what you guys got. Did your votes look similar to mine? Did they look similar to Avery's? Did they look completely different altogether? And I'm gonna be with some creators next week. So even though I'm so happy you guys love the friendly neighborhood lawyer man, we might have some other friends for a week or 2.
I'm free.
Shut up, baby, you're my prisoner. But anyways, I'm really excited for you guys to see who I'm gonna be hanging out with. Maybe get some new, fresh opinions. And as always, if you want your story featured on Am I the Bad Apple, you can submit it to our subreddit, r/AmITheBadApple. Yes, I do have some people send me emails still. And if you don't have Reddit, I'll take it, but I'm begging you, please try to keep it on the subreddit. I'm a very disorganized human being, and it just helps me to have it all in one place. It's just, But I love you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. And since we'll be in Disney World next week, I hope you guys have the most magical rest of your week. See you next week. Bye, my lovelies. Love ya. Mwah.